Welcome to the Allegrativity Powercast with Allegra Sinclair. Get ready to punch fear in the throat, show up, and tell your story. Allegra Sinclair is here to help you become the powerful woman you are meant to be. It's finally time to get unstuck and reveal how fabulous you are. And it's time for your host, Allegra Sinclair.
Hey, it's Allegra. Welcome to the podcast. So today I want to talk just a little bit about how you're letting fear keep you from being successful. Now, we have talked about fear quite a bit this year. We've talked about punching it in the throat. We've talked about how you conquer it. We've talked about overcoming fear of failure specifically. But today I want to talk about what the world is missing if you don't address your fears. So I have a quick story to start with because I love illustrations and little fables. So there is a frog named Frances. Now, Frances knew that she was the best person in her community to take charge of a specific initiative. They're trying to get a pool built. Their community is growing very quickly, and they've all discussed the need for a pool, but they also know that they need a head of their homeowners association in order to spearhead this project, kind of help them manage growth, etc. So they've talked about the need for a new head of their HOA, and they all started throwing names in a hat. Now, nobody threw Frances's name in the hat because they had never heard her speak. And that was the one thing that prevented her from nominating herself as a candidate, because she was petrified of speaking in public. She would often say to her husband, "Man, I wish I had the confidence to speak up and be heard. I have what I think are some really good ideas for our community, and I want to share them with other people." So her husband said to her, "Hey, opportunities don't come every day. If this one right here, if becoming the head of our homeowners association really means a lot to you, you ought to put aside your fears and speak up." So Frances gave some thought to her husband's advice and decided maybe he was right. She should give it a shot. She didn't know if she'd be voted in, but it was worth a try. So the following day, when they had the next meeting of the community, she hopped up into the front of the room, closed her eyes, and said, "It's now or never. Time to let your voice be heard." And with that, she gave a phenomenal speech. It was inspirational. It was motivational. It was epic. Now, while all of her neighbors were stunned to hear her actually speak, they also cheered. They were excited about her ideas. They were excited about her vision. They were excited about the leadership they saw and the potential for their community. It went well beyond a pool. They were excited about the things that they thought they could bring to their community. So the vote happens. Now, the neighbors who hadn't already voted started voting for Frances. Now, she was a little bit behind the other nominees who were already campaigning because they had thrown their names in the hat earlier, versus she just showed up at the beginning of this meeting and kind of jumped up and gave this fiery speech. So she was nervous that she might not win. However, fast forward, when the ballots were counted, she was announced as the winner and the new head of the homeowners association. So she happily hugged her family and friends and said, and she promised, "I won't let fear prevent me from speaking up and going after my dreams ever again." Now, Frances is a special frog who knew that she needed to avoid letting fear get in the way of her success. But I think there were three things that were critical pieces of this story. One, opportunities that come your way may not stay around forever. So if you're interested, you should act. If you don't act and that great opportunity passes you by, there's no guarantee it will come back, or any other similar opportunity will come back your way again. Two, if you want to make the most of your life, and I don't mean just the most of your life for you, if you want to be the most impactful, the most influential, if you want to make the greatest splash in the pool, fear is likely the biggest barrier and has to be eliminated. You have to decide that you want to look your fears straight in the eye and then boldly walk past them in order to have bigger influence and a bigger impact on your community, on your home, on what's happening in your car right now if you're listening to this while you're driving. In order to make a bigger impact on the environment in your car, you are going to have to address your fears. The day that you decide to speak up and really be heard is the day that your life will change forever. Because there's nothing that feels the same way as achieving something that's important while you're still afraid. See, often we think we have to conquer the fear entirely before we can move. That would be magical. but that's not how life works. And it's really more fulfilling. It really tastes better. It really feels better when you achieve something important to you in spite of the fear. So today I just want to challenge you to become the person you want to become. Figure out the kind of person you want to become. Then acknowledge that fear usually is not based in any fact, and that fear will prevent you from getting what it is that you want. And that fear should be an insignificant obstacle, which we quickly put in our rearview mirror. So I have 3 questions for you today. What have you let fear prevent you from doing? You don't have to go back over your whole life. Just look back over the last year, right? We're still in a time of reflection. What have you let fear prevent you from doing? Second question, why do you think you gain more confidence when you speak up? And the last question, what tactics can you use to develop a more fearless attitude? What tactics can you use to get your fist in shape to punch fear in the throat? I'm going to put together a quick study guide here based on Frances and her fabulous story so that we can actually work through some of these questions together. I would love for you to come back to the site and tell me what you worked on, what some of the answers to your questions were. You can add them in the comments, or if you prefer, you can send them through the contact sheet so that it will be more private for you. But I'm going to add that as a PDF that you can download right at the bottom of this page, because I'm really hoping that as we reflect on where we were last year and where we want to be next year, that one of the things that we will all do together is commit to be more like Frances and to recognize that by staying silent, our community is lacking our wisdom, our vision, our leadership. And there are a lot of people out there who could get really excited about and supportive of what it is that you want to share, but you have to be willing to share it first. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time.
Now you've been given permission to be more powerful and influence more people. If you've enjoyed this episode, please head over to allegrasinclair.com/iTunes and leave a review. It will help Allegra get the message out to more women that they can punch fear in the throat, show up, and tell their stories. We'll see you next time on the Allegrativity Powercast with Allegra Sinclair.